I'm Chris Corba, TruckGearTV.com. We're at the new company today. Sent us over one of their billet leveling kits called Velocity Off-Road. They manufacture a line of billet leveling kits for truck, Jeep, and SUV. They sent us over one of the Tacoma kits. It's all manufactured out of a T6 6061 billet aluminum. It's got a nice gold anodized grade 8 hardware on it, and pretty fancy laser etched logo on here as well. So this kit happens to be for 2005 newer Tacoma, which we know fits our 2006 4Runner. So we're going to go ahead and bolt this on. Should take us about an hour. Should level it out. We're about 3 inches off front to back. The owner of the 4Runner wants to put a little bit bigger tire on it. Still wants to maintain a factory ride. That's exactly what this does. Just bolts directly on top of the strut. There's no strut disassembly. Very simple and easy to do. So we're going to do this driveway style, a lot like you do. No fancy lift, air tools, any of that stuff. Just some jack stands, some tools, and a good jack. So follow along with us, and we'll get this on about an hour and see what she looks like.
As with all installs, make sure you read the manufacturer's instructions before beginning. We started by taking a measurement of the rear, which came in at about 21 3/4. From there we moved on to the front. Measuring from that center of wheel to the top of the fender lip, we came up with about 18 3/4. After getting the front secured and pulling the front tires off, we became a little concerned when we saw our 4Runner had the stability sensor controlled front struts. A quick call to Velocity put our mind at ease, as this OEM system remains intact and functional and only requires a reset of the sensor we'll have done at the time of alignment. We started this Velocity install with a little quick disassembly first. Start by removing the upper sway bar length from the factory knuckle. Then move on to the 12mm bolts holding both the brake line, ABS line, and don't forget, remove the line for the factory stability track. That way it'll give you a little more room to move things around. Next, remove the cotter pin and nut from the upper control arm. Rather than use a ball joint separator, we chose to put a pry bar underneath the upper control arm and tap the side of the knuckle ever so slightly to separate it. Move on to the 3 strut mounting bolts located at the top of the strut, followed by the lower strut mounting bolt running through the lower control arm. You're now ready to remove the strut. Once removed, make sure the top of the hat is free and clear of any debris. Installation of the Velocity spacer is very simple. Simply reuse the factory nuts, placing the spacer on top of the factory strut, and tighten down to the appropriate torque specs. Once completed, it's time to install the same way it came out. After tightening the top hat bolts, take a large screwdriver or pry bar and rotate the lower strut mounting by 90 degrees to fit into the lower mount.
We got it all installed. It took about 45 minutes. We basically just did this all with simple hand tools, a jack stand, and like I said, hand tools. Super easy to do. All we did was just disconnect the sway bar. We undid some brake line brackets and ABS. We didn't actually disconnect them. We just took the little 10mm bolts out, give us a little more room to play with. We disconnected the lower strut mounting bolt from the A-arm, and of course the top hat bolts, there's 3 of them up here, disconnected those. And then this upper A-arm, all we did is we just wedged a pry bar in here, tapped it on the side with a hammer. This popped loose really easy. From there, we just slid the strut out, put the top hat on it, tightened it up, and slid the strut back in, spacing the strut down about 1.5 to 2 inches with this spacer. This Velocity spacer was machined perfectly. Nice tight fit in the top of the hat here where the factory top support is. We like the logo. I mean, the logo actually you can see, it's a nice split logo. Very easy to install. Like I said, it took us about 45 minutes. From here, I think we're going to take the factory wheels and tires, put them on, and we're going to take a measurement front to rear and see where it sits.
We were pleasantly surprised to see our Velocity 3.0 leveling kit netted us an even 21 3/4 inches. This 3 inches of lift definitely leveled out our rig and gave it a much more aggressive stance. From here, it's off to the alignment and a new set of wheels and tires.